Most people get stuck chasing comfort today and end up sacrificing freedom tomorrow. Wealthy people, they flip that equation. They delay the easy road for a better life down the line. It's called growing into your success. Not wishing for it, but becoming the kind of person success sticks to. The truth is, wealth doesn't arrive overnight, but neither does poverty. It shows up in small habits, quiet decisions, the whispers of discipline, repeated daily. And before you know it, your future's either a mansion or a mess. So today, let's talk about how to change that future, how to rebuild it, brick by brick, thought by thought, with discipline as the foundation and long-term vision as the architect. Because the greatest fortune you'll ever earn starts right here, in how you choose to think. Most people have desire. Desire is not the problem. Everyone wishes for a better life, more freedom, a bigger bank account, little peace of mind when the bills come in. But desire alone doesn't take you there. You see, there's a bridge that connects where you are with where you want to be, and that bridge is called discipline. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, even when the excitement of desire fades, even when the mood is gone. It's easy to dream, it's harder to follow through. And financial freedom, that doesn't show up with wishful thinking. Financial freedom arrives when you link desire to disciplined daily action. Most people think wealth comes from one big event, winning the lottery, landing the deal, or some lucky inheritance. But I've learned wealth sneaks up on the disciplined. You start with small daily victories. You save a little. You invest a little. You say no to the unnecessary. You plant seeds in the garden of your future every day, and you water them with patience and consistency. Here's the truth. You can earn $1 million, but if you haven't become the kind of person who can manage 1 million, multiply 1 million, that money will vanish as quickly as it arrived. We've all heard stories, athletes, entertainers, business folks who got the money, but not the mindset. The money left because the mindset wasn't ready to make it stay. So wealth isn't just about making money. It's about becoming disciplined, becoming wise, becoming someone who respects the process more than the moment. When you build that kind of mindset, when you sharpen your daily habits, when you practice small financial disciplines consistently, then the wealth can arrive. And more importantly, it stays. You know, people often ask, where do I start? I don't have thousands to invest. I barely have enough to cover the basics. And I tell them that's exactly how wealth begins. Not with massive sums, but with the courage to start small and the discipline to stay steady. You see, people overestimate what they need to begin, and they underestimate the quiet, compounding power of consistency. Let me tell you, it isn't the big flashy move that builds lasting wealth. It's that little $50 you decide to put away month after month. You might think, what's $50 going to do? But that $50 is more than money. It's a signal to your future self that you've decided to play the long game. You've decided to think like the wealthy, not like the gambler, chasing shortcuts. Time always matters more than the amount when it comes to growing wealth. Imagine planting a tree. You don't wait for the perfect season with the perfect soil and say, one day I'll plant the biggest, strongest tree. Number. You plant the seed today, water it, and let time work its magic. That's how investing works too. The wealthy know this truth. Consistency beats intensity. It's better to start small and stay steady than to start big and burn out. I've seen people pour thousands into an investment with no understanding, lose it, and quit altogether. But the one who begins with $50, learns the process, builds the habit, that person grows. Their confidence grows, their skills grow, and eventually so does their wealth. So don't wait for the stars to align or your income to double. Start with what you have. Plant the seed. Stay steady. Because steady, small actions, that's how fortunes are quietly made. If you want to build wealth, one of the smartest things you can do is study those who've already done it. You see, success always leaves clues. The problem is, most people are so busy chasing quick wins or envying others, they never take the time to gather those clues and apply them. But the wealthy, they think differently. They know that every self-made millionaire has walked a road paved with lessons. Lessons hidden in plain sight, in books, in stories, in the pages of someone's life. That's why I always say read one biography of a self-made millionaire every single month. And I don't mean skim it while watching television or scrolling your phone. I mean sit down, really read, and take notes like your future depends on it, because it does. Every chapter holds a piece of wisdom that can save you time, money, and years of frustration. When I first began studying wealth, I wasn't earning much. But what I lacked in resources, I made up for in hunger to learn. I read the stories of men and women who built fortunes from nothing, stories of discipline, strategy, and mindset. You'll find that most of them didn't inherit their wealth. They created it through patterns of thinking and doing that anyone can adopt if they choose. You'll start to see the patterns too: delayed gratification, relentless learning, calculated risk-taking, consistency over time. And here's the beauty of it. When you read enough of these stories, their thinking starts becoming your thinking. Their discipline shapes your discipline. Their belief in possibility fuels your own. Wealth isn't an accident, it's a pattern repeated. So collect the clues, study the masters, and soon enough, you'll find yourself living what you once only read about. It's easy to get caught in the trap of today. Most people do. They wake up thinking about the bills due this week, the dinner plans tonight, the latest thing they want to buy, and they wonder why wealth feels so far away, like a distant dream. But the wealthy, they've trained their mind to stretch beyond the moment. They understand something most people miss. If you only think short term, you stay broke long term. You see, every decision you make, whether it's how you spend, how you save, how you invest, is either building your future or borrowing from it. There's no neutral ground. That coffee you buy every morning, the impulse purchase that feels good for 10 minutes, the money that slips through your hands, it's not just money gone, it's future freedom delayed. The poor stay locked in that cycle because they never lift their eyes beyond today. I remember when I first learned this principle. I wanted quick results like most people do. But the men and women I studied, the wealthy, the wise, they all thought in decades. They planted seeds knowing they wouldn't see fruit tomorrow, but confident the harvest would come. They bought assets, built businesses, invested consistently, knowing the power of time would multiply their efforts. The truth is, wealth grows like a tree, slow, steady, almost invisible at first. But if you nurture it, stay patient, resist the pull of instant gratification, one day you look back, and the roots are deep, the branches wide, and the fruit abundant. So the question is simple. Are you thinking about comfort today or freedom tomorrow? One guarantees momentary pleasure, the other guarantees lasting prosperity. Choose wisely, your future self is counting on it. It's one of life's great illusions. People think earning more money automatically makes them rich. But take a look around. How many people do you know who got the raise, landed the promotion, maybe even doubled their income, yet they're still stressed, still broke, still living paycheck to paycheck? You see, wealth doesn't come from how much you earn. It comes from how much you keep, and more importantly, how much you multiply. The wealthy have mastered a principle most overlook: live below your means and invest the difference. It sounds simple, but simple isn't always easy. Because the moment that paycheck grows, temptation grows with it. Suddenly, a new car feels justified. A bigger house feels deserved. The wardrobe expands, the dinners get fancier, the vacations get longer. But what really expands? The expenses. And as the expenses grow, the gap between income and freedom shrinks. I've seen this pattern play out countless times. I've lived it myself. Early in my journey, when I finally started earning more, I made a critical choice. I decided not to inflate my lifestyle with every dollar earned. Instead, I made my lifestyle steady, simple, sufficient, and funneled the excess into assets. Real estate, stocks, businesses, things that grow while I sleep. And here's the magic when you delay the upgrades. When you resist the urge to spend like the paycheck demands, something remarkable happens. Your investments begin working harder than you do. Over time, the assets, the rental property, the dividends, the business profits, they start buying the lifestyle you once dreamed about. But now it's sustainable. Now it's built on a foundation of ownership, not fleeting income. Most people stay broke because they chase lifestyle with wages. The wealthy stay wealthy because they let their assets fund their lifestyle. It's discipline now or regret later. Choose the assets, they never sleep, and they never complain. One of the great misunderstandings in modern society is this: people believe lifestyle upgrades signal success. But the reality is, premature lifestyle inflation is often the greatest enemy of wealth. You see, real success is quiet in the beginning. It looks like discipline, it feels like restraint, and most of the time it won't impress your neighbors. But that's how wealth is built, not on what you show, but on what you grow. If you truly want financial independence, the sequence matters. Build assets first, luxuries later. Let me tell you, I've seen the trap play out countless times. Someone gets a raise, a promotion, or maybe their business takes off. The first instinct? Upgrade the car, move to the fancy neighborhood, fill the closet with new labels. It feels good in the short term, but the foundation is shaky. Because now all the income is working to maintain appearances instead of building ownership. The wealthy do it differently. They delay lifestyle expansion until the assets are working harder than they are. I remember when my income started to grow, I lived by a rule: no significant lifestyle upgrades until my investments could pay for them, not my active income, not my time, but my assets. Real estate paying the mortgage, dividends funding vacations, business profits covering the extras. It requires patience. It requires a little humility to drive the modest car while your investments grow, to skip the flashy purchase while your portfolio compounds. But here's the difference. The wealthy upgrade their lifestyle when it's sustainable. They buy the luxury car when the interest from their investments makes the payments. They move to the bigger house when their rental properties cover the mortgage. The poor think wealth is about looking rich. The wealthy understand it's about owning what matters. If you want freedom, build assets first. Let them buy the lifestyle, not your labor. That's how you stay rich long after the applause fades. One of the most overlooked truths about wealth is that money rarely travels alone. It follows relationships. Your next big opportunity, the deal that changes your life, the investment that multiplies your future, probably won't come through the mail or drop in your lap. It'll likely walk in on two legs, disguised as a conversation, hidden behind a handshake, wrapped in an introduction. That's why if you want to multiply your wealth, you have to multiply your network. When I started out, I didn't understand this. I thought hard work alone was enough. And don't get me wrong, work ethic matters. But I soon learned there are rooms, conversations, and connections that can advance your success faster than years of labor in isolation. I made it a discipline to show up where ambitious people gather: seminars, workshops, mastermind groups, networking events. Not because I was the smartest in the room, often I wasn't. But I knew proximity is power. You sit next to someone with bigger ideas, better experience, or stronger connections, and suddenly doors open that weren't even visible before. I've seen it happen countless times. One conversation leads to a collaboration. One introduction leads to an investment. One idea from someone further along the path reshapes your entire approach. But that only happens when you're in the room. Success doesn't knock on your door while you sit at home waiting. It shows up where minds are growing, deals are happening, and relationships are being built. Building wealth isn't just about what you know, it's about who knows you, who trusts you, and who's willing to bring your name up in the right moment. You don't have to know everyone, but you do have to be intentional about expanding your circle. The next opportunity that accelerates your financial future, it's already out there attached to a person you haven't met yet. So get in the room. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's often the tuition you pay to attend the school of wisdom. See, most people experience failure and walk away with nothing but regret. But the wealthy, they mine their failures for lessons, insights, adjustments, the raw materials of financial growth. Every setback carries a receipt. It cost you time, money, energy, sometimes all three. So if you paid the price, why not collect the lesson? I've made my share of mistakes. Early in my career, I invested in something I didn't fully understand. It sounded good, promised fast returns, and I let excitement replace due diligence. The result? I lost money, and nearly more than that, I lost my confidence. But here's where the turning point came. I sat down, I reviewed every detail, every oversight, every warning sign I had ignored, and I vowed never to repeat the same mistake. That lesson cost me a few $1,000s, but it saved me from losing hundreds of thousands in the years that followed. You see, the wealthy don't run from failure. They dissect it. They ask, where did I miss the principle? Where did emotion override logic? What could I have done differently? Then they take those answers and apply them not next year, not someday, but immediately. That's how failure becomes fertilizer for future wealth. Most people repeat their mistakes because they never stop to extract the lesson. They blame circumstances, the market, even luck. But they never look in the mirror and say, what part of this did I create? But wealth builders, they own their outcomes, good or bad, and they turn their bruises into wisdom. So here's the challenge when you stumble. Don't just walk away wounded. Stop, reflect, write down the lesson, and make the correction. That's how you turn losses into leverage. That's how the wealthy grow. Money is one of life's greatest tools, but most people never learn how to use it properly. They chase money for status, for image, for the approval of others, and what happens? The money controls them. But the wealthy, they think differently. They make money serve their purpose, not the other way around. They understand money is a tool, a resource, a servant, never the master. When I was young, I thought earning more money was the goal. I thought the numbers alone would bring peace, bring freedom. But I watched people with high incomes still trapped, stressed, over-leveraged, living paycheck to paycheck in bigger houses with fancier cars, but the same chains of fear and anxiety. Why? Because they let money dictate their life, not support their life. You see, the wealthy use money to build security first, that safety net of savings, insurance, protection so unexpected storms don't wipe them out. Then they build freedom assets that produce income, businesses that operate without constant supervision, investments that grow even while they sleep. And finally, they create impact. They support causes, uplift others, build a legacy. That's the hierarchy. Security, freedom, impact. Not status, not ego, not impressing strangers. Most people reverse it. They buy the image, neglect the foundation, and wonder why they feel trapped. But money, when managed with purpose, is one of life's greatest servants. It buys back your time, your options, your ability to say no to things that drain you, and yes to the things that align with your deeper values. But you must decide early, will money serve your principles, or will you serve the illusions money can buy? Because when money becomes your master, stress follows. But when you make it your servant, peace, growth, and freedom follow. That's the better path. The battle for wealth is often won or lost long before a dollar ever changes hands. It's fought in the mind, where emotions either fuel your discipline or sabotage your future. And let me tell you, the emotions tied to money are some of the strongest there are. Fear, excitement, impatience, envy, they all show up the moment money enters the room. If you don't control those emotions, they'll control your wallet, your decisions, and your destiny. I've seen people wipe out years of progress in minutes because they couldn't master themselves. They buy things they don't need to impress people they don't even know. They jump into investments because of hype and exit because of fear. They trade long-term wealth for short-term comfort, and later they wonder why money keeps slipping through their fingers like water. The wealthy think differently. They understand emotions are normal, but they don't let emotions run their life. They wait. They analyze. They pause before reacting. They use the 24-hour rule before major purchases, letting emotion cool so logic can lead. They build systems, automatic savings, and investment plans that operate regardless of mood swings. They know the market, like life, rises and falls, but discipline is steady. Even in my own life, there were moments I let emotion drive impatience, pushed me into deals that weren't ready. Fear kept me small when opportunity knocked. But every time, the lesson was clear. Master your emotions, or your emotions will master your money. And uncontrolled emotions are expensive teachers. Wealth isn't just built by math, it's built by mindset. You can learn the numbers, but if you don't learn yourself, the money won't stay. So build the habit of pausing, thinking, breathing. Let wisdom guide your wallet, not emotion. That's the foundation real wealth is built upon. One of the greatest disciplines you'll ever develop is the ability to separate your needs from your wants. It sounds simple, but it's the very thing that keeps most people broke and frustrated, while a few quietly build wealth brick by brick. You see, wealthy people live by a different Filterra decision-making system that runs every purchase, every investment, every dollar through one simple question. Is this essential, productive, or purely emotional? And if you get that filter right, the path to financial freedom becomes a whole lot clearer. Let me tell you, the marketplace is clever. It's designed to blur the line between needs and wants. Everywhere you look, someone is selling you urgency, painting luxury as necessity, convincing you that if you don't have it now, you're falling behind. But real success comes when you slow down, clear the fog, and run your choices through that filter. Essential means it keeps your life, your business, your responsibilities moving forward. Food, shelter, tools that increase your value. Productive means it multiplies books that grow your mind, investments that compound, relationships that open doors. Emotional? Well, emotional is that impulse buy, that luxury you tell yourself you've earned, but deep down you know it delays your freedom. I've been there. Early in my career, I confused appearance with progress. I spent money to look successful, not realizing that real success doesn't shout, it accumulates quietly. The wealthy understand the thrill of a new toy fades, but assets, knowledge, and peace of mind compound. They discipline themselves to buy luxuries last, not first. The key isn't deprivation, it's mastery. It's knowing that when you delay unnecessary wants, you accelerate your freedom. So, before your next purchase, pause. Ask yourself, is this essential, productive, or emotional? That filter builds the wealth most people only dream about.